Okay. 3, 2, 1. You're on.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to part 2 of my little mini campaign, A Race Down the Dead Road. I am, Graveyard of Giants is the actual name of the session. I am Jack, your GM, and with me I have and if you thought the last group was small, prepare to be surprised. Given that they were here for the first session, I don't think introductions are necessary, but once again, I have Shadowcat playing Vanris, is it Thomro?
Yes.
Okay. And we have Dan playing Aiden.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's just jump back in on the action. You have spent a very short time in hyperspace after leaving the Varl system, the first part of the Dead Road. And Aiden, of course, has spent a little bit more time patching up his wounds from his run-in with the Shell Hut's new droid. But after getting a quick warning sign from Pippa, you approach the cockpit as the Sunflare drops out of hyperspace. And there you find chaos. I know it's hard to represent it in this blank space. However, it looks like several light ships, much along the same class of your ship, have decided to take a shortcut, or maybe have just had a bit faster hyperdrives, and they have arrived before you. And in their jockeying for position, they have now collapsed into what appears to be a large dogfight around the entrance to the system. You'll either need to wade into the battle or fly through it in order to get to the planet before you, which you already know is where the next you'll find information for how to continue the race.
I don't know what the red bar is, but there's 5 out of 5 of it.
It's the Sunflare's armor.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Do I need to zero with that?
No, that was for your own reference.
Okay, so what were the options again? Sorry, I didn't hear you. You said
wade into the fight to take out some of your opponents, or fly through the battle in order to get to the planet. You can assume that someone will probably try and stop you because that's how this dogfight show began in the first place.
Yeah, I'd say probably weave in and out of the fight, but not necessarily take it to the stage.
How wide is the fight anyway?
I mean, it's not, you're not going to be bumping ship to ship. It's just covering a very wide area because these are pretty fast ships all trying to jockey for good positions to shoot on the other ships, and there's crossfire everywhere.
Let's just wade straight through.
It's all constantly in motion, and going around would take way more time.
Okay, let's just go through them.
Yeah, I'll weave through.
I found appropriate music.
Aha!
Is there a picture of the other ships?
Unfortunately not. There would be so many tokens here, it would be just too confusing to keep track of.
Okay.
Just assume that you see an entire assortment of light freighters all flying which way.
All I was thinking of was like...
Look, ships.
Yeah.
They're so fast, they're hard to see.
Yes. In fact, those are the blaster bolts.
Yeah.
All right, so you're flying through. You're not trying to actively engage.
No, I figured the more ahead we can get, the better. Right now, there's no sense wasting time trying to take them out right now.
Can I attempt to boost the shields?
You may. I believe that's a hard computers check.
I just note. What are the shields right now on the ship? They're
3 fore, 3 aft.
Yeah, I have defensive driving. It doesn't matter. So, boosting the shields won't really do much here.
No, it'll also help as well. So,
what I'm saying, it caps at 4, and I have 2 ranks of defensive driving.
Okay.
So, it's the same as having an extra 2 shields, or 1 really, because we can't go above 4.
Okay, go for it.
Vanris, of course, can plot course or serve as co-pilot.
Yeah, serve as co-pilot.
All right. Vanris jumps into the co-pilot seat. Go ahead and make an average piloting space check.
Sure.
Not you, Vanris.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, piloting space. Okay. You've set the difficulty, have you?
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
All right, so she's not able to give you any downgrades, but for 3 advantage, I'll say she gives you 2 boosts, which I'll put on for you.
Okay. And I'm doing piloting space.
Yep. There's going to be a lot of setback, but I'm sure you'll be able to negate it.
I'll just put all the ones you got on there, and I'll negate all the ones I can. So,
All right.
all right. So you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm sure you're probably going out through this full tilt.
Yeah, max speed. Not full throttling, but max speed.
Okay, the max speed of the Sunflower is 3, so that would change that to that. All right, go ahead and actually,
I'll be a separate action. So
I will use my 1 dark side to upgrade this. Now you can roll.
Ooh,
That's not good.
it's a little early in the session, but I'm going to use my reroll, I think. Despair is probably not great. Also, not succeeding somehow. So let's just do that again. It's better than the other one. I'll take it. With 4 reds in there, I guess having having a despair is pretty low chances.
You're able to move the sun flare past the main battle, and it doesn't look like you've picked up any people directly going after you. That's your success in your advantage. However, for the despair, I say a stray ion bolt does hit the sun flare. Not directed at it, you just got hit by the crossfire. I'd say that probably causes your engines to begin to sputter.
Okay, what is
going to
it?
make landing on the planet perhaps a bit difficult.
Okay.
Vanris will grab her toolkit.
Yeah, Vanner, see if you can lock that down.
Yeah.
All right. So as I'm going to have this be a piloting check to keep the ship steady enough for Vanris to do the repairs, and Vanris will then do the repairs to make sure you don't have to crash or force a landing.
Yeah, she has her.
I have to do my check first, right?
She has her.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get to the mechanics in just a sec. Let me try and get everything sorted first. For that advantage, yeah, you got more advantage than you need to just keep everyone from tailing you. So I'll add 1 boost to this check.
Let me know when you're good.
Given the fact that you can't change speed because the engines are sort of locked in place, just taking down some set. All right, your difficulty set. Go ahead and roll. Piloting space.
Man.
Oh, no,
however,
that's
I have an interesting thing called second chances that I can use once per encounter. So I'm going to do that and re-roll the one that is 2 advantages and the boost. So.
Okay. So for the moment, you have just the triumph.
Yeah. So remove any of the difficulty and all that. So.
Okay. Yep. Resetting. All right. Go ahead.
All right. Not the boost. There we go. I'll take it.
All right. You're able to pull the sun flare into upper orbit of the planet, and get a smooth enough, pretty much get it into an orbit where you can kind of set it to a glide. And this is where we get to the mechanics check. Because he was successful for 3 successes, I'll actually have that downgrade the difficulty.
Okay, she has her journeyman custom toolkit.
Does that give you
gives
any
me a
number
boost.
of boosts?
A boost.
Okay. All right. And
I mean, anything you're bringing to the table, you can always add manually. You don't have to announce it to him for him to add.
Oh, right. So just stick it in modifiers to just put boost. Right. Okay. Right. Here we go.
All right. Go ahead and roll. Oh wait, did you put the boost in? Okay. Never mind.
Do I need to?
All right. Unfortunately, no. The boost got put in because I never took it off my pool. All right. It looks like you're unsuccessful in getting the engines back into line. It looks like you're going to have to completely disconnect them from the reactor in order to get in the proper repairs. Unfortunately, that does mean the sun flare is going to have to land before you can conduct proper repairs.
Okay,
we're coming in hot.
She'll pass that on. Oh, great. Does this mean we have okay, yeah, fine. She finds a seat in the back area and she will strap herself in.
Strap down. This is going to be a little messy.
All right. Whoops.
Apparently,
come
this is
on.
from a Capcom game. Whatever this is. Oh, Dark Void.
Shh. All right. Do you want to try and find a good place to land, or do you just want to put it down as quickly as possible? I'll take that as a no. Looking for.
I think that would be safe.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
A safe-ish place.
Yeah, we'll look for a relatively clear area.
All right.
Large enough that we can put it down at this speed.
Since you're not trying to look deeply with any sort of time, I'll have that negate any setback, but I am going to make that a hard check.
Does this thing have flotation
perception.
devices?
Perception?
Yeah.
Does Vanish have any ranks or anything for skill assist?
Yep, she has 3 ranks.
Okay, I'll take your ranks. Alright, so let me just throw a couple upgrades on there. There we go. And perception, go. Oh man, we are not rolling well.
All right. So you found a riverbed that appears to be somewhat dried up that would be wide enough for the Sunflare to go into. And in fact, the canopy above is thick enough that at least at first glance, the Sunflare wouldn't be visible. However, you know, you have no idea how this planet behaves, so you don't know what this riverbed's going to be like.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll put it down there. That's fine.
All right. You glide.
The best place that I can see, anyway.
Yeah, you glide in the Sunflare past the canopy, chopping it through a bit, and bringing it a bit further down, and just set its wings down at the bottom of the ravine. And there's stillness, as now Fenris can come in, cool down the reactor, and now without the pressure of time, probably heal the strain on the engines pretty well in hand.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna roll.
So while she's doing that, I'll just look around with the sensors / visually. See.
All right.
What stands out.
Yeah, just don't go too
ahead
far.
And roll me. Go ahead and roll me in either computers or perception, and I've already set the difficulty.
All right, so this would not be skilled since this is while she's doing the mechanics. This would be no.
Yeah, I'd say this would be at the same time.
Yeah.
Since while she doesn't need to roll, it would still take up some time.
All right, the difficulty good?
Yep.
No.
There is a lot of life.
It's
That
life,
is about
Jim.
all you detect.
I am just not rolling successes today.
It's life, Jim, but not as we know it.
I would say no, you completely failed. So yeah, I mean the abundance of life is just causing the sensors to go haywire.
I assume this is still the same encounter as that space venture, so I can't re-roll those.
Yeah, things need to settle down a bit.
Okay. All right. So remind me as the GM here. What is the what are we meant to be doing on the planets again?
Finding a tablet
each
or something.
Yeah, on each one of these planets, the Hutts believe is enough evidence of the Hutt civilization that was here before, or probably during, the time that the Dead Road was isolated, that they left star charts that you could perhaps find, and using those charts, extrapolate the next possible route along the Dead Road and where it ended up after the calamity.
And claiming it involves what? We have to claim the world for someone, right? So.
Yes, the basic principle is if you find the marker first, whatever the form the map may be, you claim the planet.
Okay.
Okay, do we have like something like a flag or identifier to actually say what we've got?
Well, you each have your own camera droids that have been following you ever since you left.
Yeah, right.
Left Varl.
Okay.
So they're going to know when you find it.
I suppose that means they'll also know if we end up tampering with anything.
You can figure that, and in fact, since the droids themselves are hut property, you can't really tamper with them either.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, is there any direction where it looks like there could be signs of civilization?
This sounds like a lore check, or maybe education. I'll let you pick.
Does Vanders have ranks in either of those?
Let's have a look.
Because I would say this could be a survival check, right? Like we're out in the wilderness, and
You know what? Fair enough.
we would know where
Tell me.
is.
Yeah, you're either using survival, which will have one difficulty, or you're using a knowledge skill, either lore or education, which will have another difficulty. So just tell me which one.
What's Vanders' ranks in either?
Survival is 3 green, and the only thing she's got in knowledge skills is Underworld and Outer Rim. And that's it.
Okay, so survival it is. I'll get an unskilled boost from Vanders then, I guess.
All right, just a moment. Setting the difficulty. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. No, hold on. Now go.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Well done.
Hey, however, it's worth
good.
noting, I do have, I think, outdoorsmen. Let me double check. So overland travel times are lessened for this kind of thing.
That will help.
Yes.
So the good news is you're on a river. It may be dried up currently, but you can figure that if there's any civilization, it would probably be along the river. Looking up, you can see that the river originally probably came down from a few mountain peaks, probably several clicks away, but still kind of on the horizon. You can see them past the hole you made in the canopy. So the better idea is if there's any larger body of water, it would probably be the other direction. So your best bet is to probably just follow the riverbed further down away from the mountains.
Okay. And refresh my memory, we don't have any kind of like transport on the Sunflare, right?
I think the closest you got was
Devo's hover sled?
yeah, that or the swoop bike that probably got taken off.
Yeah, I imagine that's not here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would Zevo's hover sled be here?
Well, Zevo was here.
Yeah. So, say maybe a safe bet.
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Now the thing is, would Zevo let you use it?
Well, he is good friends with Aiden, and Aiden has ridden on it before. Not necessarily on his own though, so I don't know. That is not a question that Aiden can answer. That Dan can answer.
Maybe worth a destiny flip.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we're at 2 light right now. Anyway, right?
2 light, 0 dark.
Yeah. So there we go.
All right. Zevo looks at you and looks at the sled and says, "All right, I'll hold down the fort with the others while you go scout ahead and do the sled."
Thank you, friend. Let us know if anything befalls the ship while we're away.
We'll try, but who knows what our competitors may be doing to foul up any communications.
Out of the armory, Venris is going to take the 2 breath masks and hand one to Aiden.
Thank you.
Just in case, you never know.
Yeah, never hurts.
All right. So you get on the hover sled and take it down the riverbed. Yuck, yuck, yuck. You notice as you go further down that water seems to be pooling up. And actually, I think we can finally move to the next.
While we're moving, Venris will say to Ziva, while you're there, get the other guys to throw over the camouflage netting.
We'll try. Yeah.
I guess we're just assuming that whoever may or may not be playing later in the week is also in the ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably a good call.
Actually, I guess you'd be down here. So you notice as you go further in that the riverbed does seem like it has recently dried up. You see pooling water here and there. And it actually seems to cut through some of the rock, which has also overgrown with vines and leaves. It's probably been a couple of hours before your comm link suddenly starts to hiss. Aiden's. Actually, no. I'd say there's a comm link probably just laying on the hover sled that Zevo forgot about, and it's buzzing.
Okay, Fenris will answer it.
It's heavily garbled. What you're making out is Onyx pitchfork.
So I made out Onyx. Is there any way we could like boost the gain on it?
There is. It is going to be a mechanics check to probably wire it together with some of your probably leftover computer bits, or maybe the slit itself, to see if you can't boost the reception.
Aiden will give an unskilled assist to the mechanics for Vanris.
Okay. So,
She has her tools, so that will give you a boost.
and the
All right.
unskilled assistance, that would be 2 boosts.
Correct. All right.
So, okay.
Go ahead and roll.
Okay.
All right. So you're not able to boost the reception, but just as a result of listening to it, you can tell it's a repeating message. So you're able to pick out the call is coming from Onyx, probably on board his ship, given the distance. It seems like he's trying to get in contact with you, probably to meet up.
Could we attempt a triangulation?
Not with only 1 point on the triangle. Although I guess we could start
yeah,
looking at
that's-
directions. And, yeah.
You know,
Well,
a
at best, you have
direction.
2 points. You and the Sunflare.
Vanris will open up her holocom to the ship. I'm relaying a repeating message to you. Any chance you guys could see if you can triangulate and call me back? And she'll attach Zevo's comm to her holocom.
All right. There's silence, and then you get who would be the, I don't want to say someone else is here who hasn't been here yet. So Z will say, working with Pippa makes it look like we're gonna need a wider array of points in order to actually figure out where this is coming from.
Do you reckon
Is
we
it
could
reaching
get
the ship on its own? I guess is my question.
Spoke over each other.
Sorry. Is it reaching the ship on its own, or is it? Are you only getting it because of this?
No, now that you've gotten our attention to it, we seem to be picking it up as well, but it seems like it was directed to my personal comm, probably because of our deal with Basati.
Mm-hmm.
If we get higher, would that help?
Only if the signal's coming from higher.
Okay, Zevo doesn't know, but you can make an education roll to figure that out.
Okay.
Unskilled boost.
Yeah, I'd say either computers or education.
Well, they're all the same.
Yeah. I'll say education. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. I am going to flip. Okay, so education. So.
Oh, hold on. Are you adding the upgrade yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to add the.
Okay, just
I'm
wanted
going
to
to. I'm going to add the upgrade and then remove it after.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Okay.
I didn't want to double upgrade it.
Okay, so there's a boost on that as well, isn't there, for unskilled? So here we go. Oh crap!
Nope.
I mean, the thing is, you don't know if this garbling is just because of the planet or because of whatever efforts your other racers may have put in orbit. So
Yeah.
higher up may do good, may not do good. It's anyone's guess.
I say, unless this becomes clear as we keep moving, we should just keep moving on for now. We don't have enough information to really track this down.
And she curses in Mandalorian.
All right, so we keep moving the direction we were moving before. Just listening to see if it comes in clear or anything like that. But otherwise, just continue.
All right. You continue down the riverbed, and both of you go ahead and roll me a vigilance check. I've already set the difficulty.
Okay.
Okay, Benris,
So vigilant.
your old hunter instincts are kicking in, and you feel like you're being watched, but you don't know if it's native or otherwise.
Okay. She'll whisper to Aiden that we're being watched. Don't ask me from where.
Can Aiden, because he has, I know the macro binoculars or electro binoculars. That's a big difference, I think. Because electro has like infrared and all that other stuff, right? Whereas macro is just enhance.
Yeah. You know what? I should have got the targeting goggles off the Sunflare.
They're electro binoculars. Good. Okay. Yeah. So that would give like different things like infrared and things like that, right?
All right. Yep. Go ahead and roll me a perception check. Then I am going to make it. Actually, I guess it would be the same difficulty.
Okay.
I am going to use the dark side though to upgrade it.
Okay. We know when you're good.
Yep. Good. Go ahead.
Can I get an unskilled boost then, or skill perception for manners? Or no? Oh no, because it's
you.
Unless you both stick one eye through the electro.
Yeah. Fair enough. Solo it is.
She can look for
We are
us.
rolling so poorly.
She can actually look through the sight of her perception X.
What does that give you?
It's just the scope for her rifle.
I mean, does it have any specific filters, or does it just you look closer?
It's got a range of long, so that helps.
That's just range,
So that's more or less range. But I
so you look on the banks of the river, and you just see very nice close-ups of leaves. They're very nice leaves. You can see the elegant chlorophyll veining, but
that's about
I
it.
don't think that's up here.
This place is surprisingly lush for what used to be a hut world.
Well, what do you expect? Get the huts off the world, and it reverts back to its natural beauty.
Speaking of the entire, you probably spent 3 hours going down this now, seeing no signs of civilization, but also no signs of anything you could relate to the huts. In fact, as you're realizing that, you actually come upon the first sign of civilization as the hover sled finally reaches the end of the dry riverbed and reaches a lake that it probably filtered into. And in the center of that lake, you see a giant, and by giant, I mean that this thing is probably a kilometer high statue.
Subtle. I think we're headed in the right path here.
Yeah.
Does it look like there's anything near it, or is it just the statue kind of on its own, like in the picture there?
It looks like it's all by itself. You don't see any signs of buildings around it. It's just the statue.
Does it look accessible from where we are?
Yeah, it's kind of built on a small island. I guess it'd be a peninsula, the way it was carved in. A peninsula kind of in the middle of the lake. The hover sled, I'm not sure how accessible it is over water.
I mean, it hovers, so I don't know. I mean, we have power, right? So
yeah, but does it go off the base? Does it go off the surface tension of the water? Does it go off the base of the lake?
I have no idea. I'm just going off of Back to the Future logic here. It has power, so it should be good.
Yay, we're surfing!
I honestly don't know.
I just don't know. I don't know if I want to introduce functionality that will be used in excess later.
I guess my thought is, I've never heard in Star Wars of a difference between a land speeder and a sea speeder. You know what I mean? Like,
if it's
there are
subs,
subs. That's a different thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but is it because they just go on top of the water, or because they're have another sort. They're more powerful on the back end. They fly.
I couldn't tell you, honestly.
You know what? I'm just going to flip this dark side and say you can't fly. You can't float it over too deep water.
Fair enough. All right, so we'll just go around then, I guess, because it was on a peninsula, you said, right? So
Yeah.
how big is this lake?
Pretty big. Like I'd say. I have no approximate measurement. You can see the entirety of the lake from where you are.
Okay, so it's not like it's stretching beyond the horizon or anything.
Yeah, it's pretty big, but not that big.
Okay.
Like you could probably fit. The Sunflare could easily dive into it with plenty of room to spare.
But that's not necessarily impossibly large. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like it's not that far, but you'd actually have to take it into the jungle now. You don't have the wide open access of the.
You wouldn't have the banks of it.
Yeah.
Just go around the banks.
Yeah. No, the trees come all the way to the shoreline.
All right.
Some of them even grow in the lake, like a mangrove swamp.
Interesting. I guess from where we're at, do we see? I mean, I guess it's kind of far away, right? We're on the other bank.
Yeah, I would say, let's see. If the thing was a giant rectangle, you would be on one end, with the opposite bank being on the far end, and the peninsula kind of comes in right in the middle of it.
It's like an ovular lake.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there like a way to get around to where this statue is on the
we
land?
we can get around. We just have to.
Oh yeah, you can. The thing you can easily go into the jungle to get to the peninsula, but the problem is there's probably not going to be enough room for the hover sled.
Sorry about that background noise because the cat is going loopy.
So we'll take the hover sled as far as it can go in whichever direction makes more sense.
And remember where you parked it.
Yep.
Okay, so you start going north, and then about 10 feet later, you have to abandon the hover sled because it's a very thick jungle. Yeah, I mean, the only reason you're able to get this far is because you had a dry riverbed to float it on. I mean, otherwise, it is a thick jungle.
Okay.
Okay, as we proceed forwards, Vanris is now taking her rifle off of her back and carrying it in her arms.
And actually, Aiden will come over to the ship as well, and he'll say to Zivo and whoever else may be there.
This is where we put your sled.
Yeah, basically, like in case we need to make a different escape, Sunflare can come around and pick up your hover sled here, Zivo. We can't proceed any further with it.
You're asking us to leave the position with the netting to fly the Sunflare down our riverbed?
I'm not saying right now. I'm saying these are our coordinates, and this is if we need to make a different escape later on, then back the way we came.
I'm the one who's probably going to have to fly the Sunflare. Aiden, are you all right with that? Says Zivo.
It's like, just don't do anything too dangerous. And I'll do the dangerous flying when I get in.
The commentator clicks out. You get a very weary sigh, a Huddy's sigh, as Zivo realizes that this hover sled is in danger.
It's not so much in danger as it can't go any further. So
it's in danger of being abandoned.
Yeah, fair enough.
if he had a back call installed on it, and it would have gone straight back. She would have gone straight back to him.
I don't know if we have that on it or not. Do we?
It would have to have a slave circuit. I don't think it has any hard points.
Well, I think the beck and call thing is a separate modification, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't exist as a modification. I think that's just a wording for a slave circuit.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. Oh, no, I thought Pippa did that, actually. Maybe that's what it was. Pippa can count for that. But anyways, we will continue on.
Oh, yeah, you have something like that for the Sunflare because of Pippa, and I think it actually does have a slave circuit on it, but you don't have that for the sled.
Well, right. Yeah. All right, so anyway moving to the jungle.
You enter the jungle, and it is immediately awful. It looks like the moisture of the lake has increase the humidity of the local area, so you immediately have to deal with just all sorts of insects that have decided to make their home in both the brush and the trees. Go ahead and make me a resilience check, just to see if you can deal with this sudden onset of jungle fever.
Aiden is so resilient. Let's see. Nope. Could have been worse, though, I suppose.
All right. Vanris takes 4 strain because of the threat. Aiden takes 3. But luckily, it doesn't look like any of these bugs are immediately poisonous. So it's just the hot and heavy
I was going to say,
treatment of the jungle.
Yeah.
why does a threat outweigh a failure, a complete failure?
Well, I think it's because you completely nilled it. You don't have any spare successes. He had an extra failure.
Right.
Yeah, extra failures don't necessarily mean something. Threats always do. Even if it's just rain or something.
All right. Anyway, you continue through the jungle, trying to keep close to the bank because at least that's where the tree count seems to diminish. You get about halfway to the peninsula before you start hearing some very heavy rustling in the canopy behind you. And because you had slight awareness you were being followed, you get to roll initiative, but it's going to have to be vigilance.
That's fine. Yeah, we knew we were followed, but we didn't know by who or what or why.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, hold on. I forgot to know out the dice pool.
Oh, sorry.
So 0.2 for Van Res.
Oh, I'm doing the wrong thing here. Hold on. And bam.
0.3.
And 0.3. It's 0.2 because you weren't supposed to have any difficulty with the roll. So you roll to advantage. No, not by much, but this guy just gets to go first. So out of the canopy appears what you could best describe as a mix between a minx and a monkey. 2 long, lean arms and 4 long, lean arms and then 2 short, squat legs. Looks like it's probably more used to swinging around the canopy than actually walking down. It comes out of the canopy with 2 large rocks in 2 of its hands, and it tries to slam them down on Aiden's head.
Okay. Aiden will dodge.
All right. Twice, so that upgrades it. It is melee difficulty.
And he's also going to use second wind to just be at 2 strain in total.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. It still manages to hit. It clocks you with one of them on the outside of the head, dealing...
Oh, you forgot his defense.
5 damage. Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, this is melee defense. He has any?
Aiden has 1 of each.
Okay. Nope, still hits you.
Figures. Okay.
However, it only does 6 damage.
Oh, that's not too bad. And I have how much soak exactly? 5. Okay, so 1.
It sees it to do much damage and starts to emit a bit of a bestial roar.
It's just the one that we saw?
Currently.
Okay. So I'm going to quick draw one of my blasters, and it's at point blank, right?
Yeah, it's engaged.
Yeah. I'm going to fire a stun shot into it. Actually, I'll take a maneuver to draw the other one too. So both blasters are out and 2 stun shots. So let's see.
So that's dual wielding and engaged shooting?
I have close combat, so I don't have to worry about the engagedness.
Okay. But you do have to deal with the dual wielding penalty.
Yeah, I mean, I always have that, yeah. So.
Okay. All right, yeah, go ahead and roll.
Okay, so you're doing the difficulty there, so I'll just put in my setback removal. And where's my weapon? Okay. Okay, so that definitely hits. There's an extra advantage on there from the second weapon. So that is enough to do... why did that not put the damage in? That's weird. Usually it lists the damage there. So that'll be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage for the first shot, which is also Pierce 1. And the second shot is 15 Pierce 3.
Okay, so as you fire the first shot, you actually see it kind of twitch a bit, almost as if it was somewhat unaffected by the first shot, and it comes forward to try and charge you again with a rock, but the second shot, right in the middle of the face, blanks it out. It kind of hits you a bit just by its momentum, but then slumps down to the ground.
Okay. Do we know what the heck this thing is?
It sounds like a xenology check.
It does. I guess I'll get an unskilled boost from Venris, because neither of us have any skills in that, I'm sure.
All right. I've set the setting the boost for the unskilled assist, but yep. All right, you can roll.
You're starting the boost, or do I have to?
I put in the boost.
Okay. Alright, so no, he is down here. Bam. Nope.
You have not seen anything like this thing before.
Like I said, it's life, Aiden, but not as we know it.
I mean, we've never been to this planet before, so I didn't expect to know everything on it.
Well,
Even that, you don't know if... I mean, this thing has there's some just natural characteristics you can assume to tree climbers, but after that, there doesn't seem to be any sort of analog.
Right. So the way it was moving around and everything like that, like it looked like it was an animal, right? Not like a sentient that was offended that we were there.
You don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
she points to the camera to get a close-in shot of the creature.
Camera doesn't move.
Yeah, I don't think we're directors or anything. I don't think it listens to us.
Oh, why am I not surprised? First sign of life, and it doesn't want to...
I don't think they care what's here other than their property, whatever that may be.
Yeah, well, let's carry on going.
All right.
You lead forwards. You keep a
Yep, I'll,
hand on... You keep a hand on my back, and...
Wait, if I'm leading, how am I putting a hand on your back?
Well, it's easy. You just... she basically turns around and just puts...
Just follow.
Well...
Aiden, continue forward.
She actually puts his hand on her belt and really do it that way. And just tell me what obstacles there are.
I mean, you can see, right? Just follow me. We'll be fine.
Okay, fine. Every few steps you'll just turn and look back.
All right. And go ahead and roll me another resilience check as you close your distance to the structure.
All right.
I'm actually going to use the light side. So how do you put an upgrade in?
There's a thing that says upgrade.
Yeah, on the top of your page where it says the dice pool, on the side where it has all the positive dice, upgrade
yeah.
one grade. Just
Upgrade
turn that on.
One, right. Okay, now where am I? Resilience, come on. There you are. Okay.
All right. So Vanris is starting to get the hang of things in this climate. She's swatting away the more nasty bugs before they can get on her. And in fact, just the humidity of the place doesn't seem to be getting her as far. So you don't take any strain. In fact, the next time I ask for this sort of resistance to climate, you can add a boost. Aiden, on the other hand, is even more bogged down than he was when he first started getting into the jungle, so you actually take 4 strain. However, you do reach the large statue on the peninsula. You can see as you walk up to it, you can see a large area of the space around the statue. Actually, do either of you have ranks in survival, or is it just your natural cunning?
Aiden has a couple ranks. Or
Okay.
I was going to put one in survival, but I chose streetwise instead.
Okay, so Aiden recognizes that the land around the statue is relatively recent growth. It looks like a lot of the land in this part of the peninsula was actually trampled to the point where only just now are small trees starting to grow back up.
So basically, nature. So basically, nature's just starting to get its foothold again.
In this specific area, yes.
Okay.
Are we able to see kind of a not quite a path, but you know what I mean, like follow the trampled area to potential civilization?
Well, no, it's just all around this specific statue. It doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't look like it leads anywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
How tall is this statue?
About 1 kilometer.
Does
it look like there's any means inside it or anything like that, or anything notable about the base?
You do a whole walk around the base, and you do not see an entrance into it, but you do start to see that the kind of large base of it has etchings on it.
Like writing, or?
Yeah.
Is
not like things you can see as the letters. It actually looked like it's pictorial.
Okay, like hieroglyphics then.
Yeah.
Or space hieroglyphics, but
yeah. Is there like a little platform or an outcropping about a medium distance up?
Why?
Well, she's got an ascension pistol type thing, and thinking.
This thing is like layered stonework. There are plenty of cracks. Something like that could hook onto.
Right, like something like like the pyramids. No. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. She'll.
Aiden will toss her his electro binocular, or she has a scope, I guess.
Yeah, she's got a scope and nothing special, so I'm gonna.
At that distance, the different filters won't matter really.
No, because when we finish this, you'll get a new targeter or whatever it is. Anyway, yeah. So she's just going to go and see if she can fire it up. Fire and see if she can get up.
I'm not even gonna have to make you roll for the shot. That hook can land in so many spaces and find purchase. So,
are you trying to get all the way to the top eventually, or just going a little ways up?
She's going medium.
Okay, you can get about halfway up without having to roll, but after that, the stonework starts to get more intricate, and that's when you're gonna have to start aiming. So, if you want to climb all the way to the top, you have to roll. But if you just want to get a good vantage point, that's relatively easy. Yeah. Simple even.
Well, while she's doing that, Aiden will see if he can make heads or tails of the hieroglyphics.
All right. This is a lore check.
Another one of those things that Aiden is so great at.
All right. Go ahead and roll your lore if you want to try and make heads or tails of this. Don't forget you do have a... Ooh! All right. Threat with success. So you're starting to understand what this is saying roughly. This is some sort of worship statue, specifically made as an icon.
Oh, question actually. I didn't think of it until just now. But would the Ardos disc do anything? I don't know. I guess we put it in the thing and left it there, right?
Yeah, you don't have it.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so anyway, continue. Sorry.
So this appears to be some sort of deity to a sentient species, and you recognize it is in no way associated with the hut. And in fact, along its skirt seems to you see several pictures that do actually look like huts, small little worm-like things next to large, somewhat humanoid figures who seem to be bound in some sort of weird lightning.
The figures are bound, or the huts are?
The figures, the humanoid figures, seem to be bound. And as it's kind of spirals up the base, it seems to be going later and later in time. But I'd say for the threat, you can't exactly tell what the relationship is here. Like, you can't quite make out what the you can probably guess the native sentients are trying to convey, aside from just their bondage under the huts.
So it looks like the huts have potentially bound the natives or whatever. Okay.
That's about all you can piece together.
Okay. So it looks like the huts were definitely here, but this doesn't look like their civilization. That's for sure.
So basically, it's a bit like what we do to every planet we come on.
I mean, it's kind of their MO, but yeah. So we'll continue forward. But do you see anything from up there?
She looks through the scope and perception check, correct?
Oh, well, we need to be... I assume since you didn't roll or ask to roll that you're just at the top of the base?
I said that she would go to the medium range.
Yeah, whatever the... she's at the top of where she doesn't have to roll to get to. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this would be perception. I'd say the scope at this point will give you 2 boosts to get a more wide field. Yeah, go ahead and roll.
Okay.
Okay. First thing you notice, it's kind of cloudy, but you can definitely make up several shapes, both along the horizon and almost nearly overhead, of small dots. You can probably guess are ships of your over-the racers looking across the planet.
Okay.
As you look further along the river that seems to leave the lake in the opposite direction of the river you took to get here, you see it continues on for a distance, but as it comes near what appears to be the edge of the canopy, you do see a faint outcropping of carved stone, a series of it. A small complex, you think.
In the direction we were heading, or where we came from?
Heading.
Okay.
So the dry river you're on hit this lake, and then there's another river on the other end that keeps going that actually has water on it, and that way reaches the complex.
Okay.
Okay.
One way she points and says, right, that way there seems to be racers, and the other way she points with the
there's no way you can actually point for the racers. The racers are everywhere.
Okay.
He's just saying you see them in the atmosphere in general, right?
Yeah, they're that way
Yeah.
in general, and going this way, we've what seems to be possible complex of some kind, but I could be mistaken from this distance.
Does it look like there's a space to land the Sunflare over there?
Maybe, I'm not sure. Can't tell from this distance.
That was partially to Jack too, if she could tell or not. But yeah.
No.
Okay.
I mean, there is a river there that was just as wide as the bed you were on, so you could technically park the Sunflare in the river if you had any idea of how deep it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it.
That's all you can really tell from here. Okay.
Yeah.
So Aiden will relay that to Zevo. It says, what do you think? Should we have you pick us up here and we continue on in the Sunflare?
If it means I get my sled back.
It does.
All right. Well, I've also got some good news and bad news.
Okay, and the bad news is?
You probably may have noticed, but the other racers seem to have broken up with their fight they were having above the planet and have started to scatter almost over this entire hemisphere. At least that's as far as our sensors can detect.
We've seen some of that. What's the good news?
Luckily, well, because I'm starting to believe that whatever was garbling Onyx's transmissions from earlier was ship-based, because now that everyone's in the atmosphere, the jamming has weakened, and I'm able to make out a message. Onyx is trying to meet up with us. He wants us to give him coordinates.
Would it be better if we gave Onyx our current coordinates?
I think it's best we play along with the plan for now. So not the current coordinates, because we want them to get the first planet if possible.
Okay, yeah. So basically, she'll give basic coordinates for the area further on ahead, the complex.
Yeah, we can give him approximate coordinates for where we're going. Tell him to meet us there.
Yeah, okay. So you tell that to Zevo, and Zevo will try with the Sunflare's more sophisticated comms get the message to Onyx.
All right, meet us over here. We'll be back at the sled. We'll get back on the Sunflare and then fly there.
All right. So is your plan to then you guys return to the sled? The Sunflare comes over, picks you guys and the sled up, and then flies everyone over to the complex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because by the time we get back to the sled, the Sunflare will be about here.
Are you going to follow your path back to the sled through the jungle?
Yeah.
I mean,
Could we
could potentially swim, right?
You could, if you want.
Because there's a bank on the other side that we can get out on.
Is there? Okay.
Does the water look potentially safe? I guess
it's water.
The water looks murky. If you want to make, you said you had electro binoculars, right? That detected heat signatures.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a perception check. I'll set the difficulty. All right. Go ahead and roll. The water is murky.
Chances. This is a different encounter.
Okay.
Second chances. I'm going to reroll those.
Definitely is.
There's 2 greens there.
Okay, so for the moment you have 2 threat.
So take the difficulty out now that it's still in there.
Right. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right. So 1 threat and 1 success. Unfortunately, it looks like the water is a bit too deep and a bit too cold to get clear readings all the way down, but you do notice there are fish in the lake, some of them about as big as you are.
Let's not swim. We'll go back to the jungle. That was comparatively safe. This we don't know.
Can we skirt around the edge of the jungle?
Oh, that's what you were doing in the first place, I assumed, because that was the lightest cover.
Yeah, we'll go back through that way.
Now, you could, if you wanted to be somewhat dangerous, kind of hop along the roots of the pseudo mangrove trees that are kind of after the banks of the lake, which means you wouldn't actually have to deal with the humidity, but one misstep and you fall into the water.
Would that be coordination based?
Yeah.
I'll go.
Or survival.
I can go for that.
All right. Well, Venus, of course, can go a different way if she wants.
I could use my ascension pistol to actually swing across, couldn't I?
You could. That would probably also be coordination.
All right. So difficulty for Aiden's coordination.
And
just
it would probably be different when you throw in the ascension pistol thing. All right. Aiden's coordination is set up.
Okay. Very good.
All right. You're able to make it through. In fact, with a few of the advantage, I say you probably, if not actively tug down, point out branches that Vanris can use for her ascension pistol.
Sounds good.
So I'll add 2 boosts to your coordination, Vanris.
Maybe take a little bit to catch my breath on the other side and get some strain back.
Yeah.
How much?
And well, it depends. How many boosts do you want to pass to her? I'd say 2 equals 1 boost.
All right. I'll give her 1 boost.
Okay. So you get 3 advantage left over.
Okay. You've done your difficulty?
Yes, because you can shoot into the canopy and find easy purchase, you actually have no setback. But I am going to use the dark side to upgrade it once. Go ahead and roll.
Okay. You've already done it on your end, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, what do we have on light? Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay, here we go. And as she swings, she does the Tarzan thing.
Oh, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And with the advantage, no one hears her and ambushes her because of it.
Yeah.
Suddenly, 6 monkeys come out. All right, so you arrive back at the hover sled and receive a message from. You've probably been waiting for about 5 minutes, and you get a message from Zevo. Guys, we got a problem.
Yes.
What kind of problem?
I'm picking up I can't quite make it out. It's not within visual range, but a fighter-sized craft heading for your location.
All right, hurry up and pick me up. I'm going to get in the pilot seat.
Can you detect life signs in that thing?
I can only assume that it's the fighter droid.
We are too far out to get any clear scans.
Okay.
Just focus on getting here and picking us up.
Yeah.
All right, we are. You hear some fumbling and a few odd clicks as he seems to be trying to look for something. It looks like we're about 5-6 minutes out before we're within firing range.
Okay, Venris will get into some cover.
Firing range of it or it with us?
Oh, no, and in fact, as he says this, you start hearing the whine of an engine.
Yeah, I think we
and
found
you look
it.
up to see a large black mass suddenly crashing through the canopy a bit behind you on the riverbed. Roll initiative.
Well, it didn't necessarily see us, right? We could potentially get in cover first, or like in stealth.
For reasons I can't quite disclose, Aiden can't.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because it's probably painted you or something like that with some sort of detection thing.
All right, so initiative. I mean, we got informed it was coming, so cool.
Yes. Cool.
Ignore that boost. I'm not sure where that came from.
Yeah, and that.
Or was that from Jack?
Well, it's probably from Jack.
Oh yeah, because I still had the boost highlighted. All right, so just 0.2.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter for Aiden though.
Yeah, Aiden's pretty good on the cool.
All right, both of you actually. No,
that looks like a Hudson.
Ties go to. So both of you get to go, but your first sight is the canopy, probably about medium range, back from where you came from, just suddenly falls in, and this large black four-legged bot suddenly crashes down, and as it's lifting up, you see the 3 black eyes zero in on Aiden.
Friend of yours?
Apparently. Well then, in that case, what range is it at from us?
Medium.
Okay. Well, I'm going to, because I feel like I will need it. Unmatched mobility. So it's at medium. I'm going to get into cover behind a tree or something, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's in abundance.
At long range, we'll say. So I'll move 1 away into long range.
Well, you have to spend 2 maneuvers to get from medium to long.
That's true, and I still have all the maneuvers for that because I have unmatched mobility on. So, and then I will start peppering fire at it. blasters.
All right. All right. So, do you have anything that would negate the distance?
I have a
penalty?
scope.
Okay.
Or telescopic optical sight, so it's effectively the same as if I was at medium and using both weapons.
Okay.
So it's
difficulty
hard
set?
difficulty. Yeah.
Well,
It's both.
I thought you said. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Now it's set.
Sorry, confusing wording. All right, I'll add my accurate. Oh no, I already have that on the gun. What am I doing? Yeah. So, although I do negate a setback in case there is one. And go. And I do not seem to get the second shot off, unfortunately, but I did hit it.
All right. Only one setback showed up. Do you have anything that gets...
I have a custom grip.
Okay. So how much damage does that one shot do?
That would be 14. Pierce.
All right. You fire off your blasters and you notice as so several of them are hitting the droid, but all you see are just large blotches of it superheating the metal and then it almost instantly cooling off. It seems to have almost no effect.
Okay, good to know. But I am at long range from it right now, so that's my turn.
Oh, so what did all right, droid didn't roll much. Okay.
So we'll yell out to Vanris. Aim for something critical looking because that armor is too thick.
Okay. She's what, medium to it, I take it?
Currently, yes.
Okay, she's going to switch it to stun setting, switch her weapon to stun setting, and this is the only rifle that actually has a medium stun setting.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's actually going to take aim, and she's going to see if she can hit it in one of its eyes.
All right, that's a called shot.
And it's what? How tall? 6 foot? Well, no. What, how big is it anyway?
It's still at 3.
Still at 3.
Oh, that occurs. That should have been an easier shot then. I should have had one less difficulty on that.
Oh, you're right. It does go down by 1. We'll keep this in mind going forward, at least.
Yeah.
Now roll a D, whatever, and see which one it gets rid of.
I could. It's up to Jack, though. He's the GM.
Yeah.
Well, 1 rolled blank, so it's almost like it didn't exist in the first place. So.
All right, we'll take that one as the one that I didn't roll.
All right, the difficulty set, Vanris.
Okay.
Open fire.
Okay.
You may fire when ready.
Damn.
So, what does yours show all that information and mine doesn't? I don't know what happened.
Don't know.
Well, did you put all the stats in the weapon block?
I did.
Huh.
I'm wondering if maybe it just doesn't like the parentheses in the name.
Yeah, try deleting them. See what happens next time. Unfortunately, Vanris, in focusing on the relatively small eyes on this thing, you just pepper the surrounding armor with shots.
Okay.
Again, to no effect.
Okay.
All right, droid's turn. Vanris moved in cover since that was almost her immediate response when Zivo told you it was coming.
Yeah.
And this thing seems to have eyes only for Aiden.
So his eyes only.
It takes its maneuvers to get back into medium with him, and you see, now that you're looking at it, portion of what kind of looks like a jaw unhinges, and a large blaster rifle sticks out of it. You can.
So, Mr. Bond.
All right.
Hey, don't forget, it is 2 difficulty
yes,
harder.
because it is shooting at you. I'm not gonna flip. Are you dodging?
Oh yes, definitely. Very much yes. Dodging twice.
Let me just double check something right here because I forgot an important characteristic of the weapon.
And I have 2 range defense now, by the way.
Oh, okay. Oh,
That's
yeah,
fine.
and you're also in cover, so that adds another.
Mhm.
All right. So it misses you, but practically sets the jungle around you afire.
So I will have to move.
Yeah, it's pretty damp, so it's not really catching very far outside of where it actually hit. But
there
your
are embers.
yeah, your cover is now on fire.
Yeah, just aim for the smoke, Sivo.
Out of curiosity, did that make a smoke screen? Probably not, because it's advantage, right?
If there was
But-
a despair or any threat, I'd say yes, but because it's advantage, no.
Okay.
There's obviously some smoke, but like I said, it's probably too damp to really start anything.
So Aiden will go back over the comm. Zevo, how far out are you?
5 minutes until weapons range.
So Aiden will retreat back to another distance of long range from it. And I assume it took strain to make that maneuver, because I don't see any stats for it, so I don't know. But
Maybe.
it would have had to, because it's 2 maneuvers to go from medium to long, or vice versa.
You know,
Anyway.
I would actually love to see what it looks like. If there's
So
a
Aiden,
token.
Aiden will. I guess he can't quite do that, can he? I think he will. Yeah, he will forgo the cover, but still move to long. And fire on it, but with a cult shot. So I don't know if you're adding the setbacks for that, or I should. But
You're making a call shot? Yeah, I'm adding the setback.
yeah. So I'm aiming at whatever exposed. Maybe at the gun, actually. See if I can take the gun out.
All right. Are you still dual wielding?
Probably not, actually. No, I'm just going to fire the 1.
Okay, so that makes this you're at long again, but it's larger. So is it?
It's effectively medium because of my scope.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if it's 1 purple or 2.
It should be 2 difficulty harder for it to shoot me, but 1 easier for me to shoot it, I believe.
Okay, so that would make this effectively, because of your scope, short.
Yeah.
All right. I'm actually going to flip to add another upgrade of this,
Okay.
but you can go ahead and roll.
And we're at 2 light right now. I think I'll do the same, actually. So. All right. So. Throw that upgrade on there and go. Ah, it was the parentheses. Good to know. So, that's a lot of successes. So it'll be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 damage, pierce 1. And I hit the gun.
14 damage, pierce 1. With that advantage, yeah, you you pepper the side barrel that was already hot from that full discharge, and it starts. Now you start to see a bit of a smoke screen develop as the blaster quite clearly overheats.
So it's smokescreen like just directly in front of the droid itself, coming from his gun.
Yeah, so now it's blinded, but you guys can definitely guess where it is.
I mean, the smoke is a good dead giveaway. Is this coming from it? Yeah. All right.
Fenris is going to see if she can get behind it and see if she can see any weak spots on its rear armor.
While she's doing that, Aiden will actually come over to Zevo as well. It's like, look for the smoke. It's a dead. That's a kind of this armor's a little weaker there, where that's coming from.
Just aim for the smoke.
Yeah.
All right. So I got distracted looking for an adequate representation. So Vanris takes her turn to, let's say that probably take at least your medium front, because it landed behind you. So it would take probably 2 maneuvers to get behind it.
Well, moving one within the same range band is always one maneuver.
Even when it's lateral?
It's a relative thing, but yeah.
All right. So 1 maneuver to get behind it. I'd say either mechanics or perception check to look for something that would be akin to a weakness.
I'm going to go perception.
Okay. That's a good thing that's going to factor in here too. All right, go ahead and roll.
Okay, I'm going to upgrade.
Man.
Yeah, damn it. Not that she can see.
All right. Unfortunately, your first guess would have been the engines it uses to fly, but it seems to actually tuck its hind legs over the vents when it's in this mode to make sure they're specifically protected. And aside from that, you're not seeing anything worth shooting.
Damn you, Starscream.
Kind of looks like that.
Interesting.
And from what you saw, a lot of those legs kind of fold into its sides, and it just turns into a
bug.
Small fighter. Anyway, that's its turn now. You've eliminated its personal scale option. So now the second mandible unhinges and unfolds, and it's going to try shooting with its planetary scale weapon.
Now, aren't those harder to hit with in general when you're attacking personal scale, or is it just based on the size of the targets?
I think it's still based on silhouette size. Except it uses gunnery now instead of ranged heavy.
Actually, it looks like an Insecticon, so...
All right, so you're long range from it again, so it has to spend another 2 maneuvers to close back into medium with you, but the difficulty is still going to be 2 higher. Whoop, yep. And you're dodging or not?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to flip a dark side. Oh, dear.
So that despair means a thing.
Yes.
It overheats. Not due to the humidity.
Combine with the despair and the threat. I think I know what's going to happen now. Aiden, however, oh dear. It would be successes plus this on the planetary scale. That changes it to 70 damage.
Ouch!
Yeah, that's a little painful.
Yeah, so Vanris, you see the entire area where Aiden was standing just explode, and his limp body just rolls out into the riverbed.
Oh my god.
Okay, no, that's too much. Hold on. There we go.
Yeah, you're gonna have to roll a crit. I think how many times it's over? I think it's plus 50 by default when you're hit by a planetary weapon.
Is it?
I'm so sure, but in fairness, I'll go look. To make you feel a bit better, even though Aiden may have just died, you look up and you see a large winged ship, even bigger than the Sunflare, come in. And a very loud comes down, and a bomb lands dead center on the droid and explodes. You
Bastards.
recognize the symbols on the edge of it because you saw them back.
I didn't get a setback from the smoke screen, by the way. It got my 2 range defense. These may be important. I'm not sure.
That would have added 1.
This could
Hold
be
on.
me up.
Okay, so it does 60 damage.
Yeah. Okay. So still a lot. Okay. All right. So let me do the crit then, I suppose.
Yeah, go ahead and roll it, and we can just add the modifier when we find that out. If I can just find where the vehicle section is in this book.
Well, this has an automatic critical thing, so I can just add the modifier on it. So, although it's worth noting that I do have, I think I have durable.
Unmatched luck?
I do have durable, so I could reduce it by 10. So it is not possible for me to outright die here. That's good to know.
Okay, so it's crit plus, what, 40?
I'm trying to figure that out. Unfortunately, they've spread it out, so I'm not sure where they put the planetary scale weaponry thing here.
Like, I know they had that for, like, oh, you know what? I have a big, like, cheat sheet thing.
Because I know the damage is simply times 10. I just don't know where you deal with the crit.
Yeah, this doesn't say anything about that, you know, planetary versus non. This thing I have, but this is also user created, so you could have just missed it.
I'm trying to quickly skim over this, and it's not helping much.
Are you looking at the, like, Justin Alexander?
I'm looking at the core rulebook.
Okay.
Right, let's have a look in Force and Destiny.
Oh, hold on. Okay, here we go. Yep. In planetary scale depth, deal massive amounts of damage to individuals. Okay, it's GM discretion whether or not there's a plus 50 to critical injury.
Okay. So what is GM's discretion in this case?
That thing was aiming right for you.
It also got 2 crits and a despair.
It did, and that's why it's now destroyed.
Okay. So what are you going to say then?
So this is effectively the end of the combat. We're just trying to find out how much Aiden is damaged. I'm going to say it's plus 50.
Okay. That's what it is. So, and roll. Temporarily lame. All told, not too bad in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, so Aiden is currently unconscious.
However, let me just check what's the 10 below that. So it's at 111. So now you want me at the brink.
101 is named.
Yeah, I'm going to take temporarily lame. Just, yeah. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. All right, so this thing is now dead, and you, as Vanris runs over to her injured comrade, the Sunflare pulls in, having ridden along the riverbed. And also above you, you see the ship that you recognized that was parked at the Basadi's hangar. It's the hiding dread ship Pitchfork. After hovering over your head until the sunflare arrives, it then turns down towards the coordinates you directed toward it and flies off.
All right, this is Vander's
The sunflare
until
land-
Aiden is back up. So
Yeah, the
right,
sunflare
yes.
lands and Evo comes out and looks over at Aiden and then at his hover sled, which thankfully was outside the
Blast zone.
fighting the combat area, and nodding in approval, he slithers over to you and Vanris and Aiden and tries to put you on the hover sled to get you back on the ship.
Yeah, Venus will assist and see if we can stick him in a back to tank.
do we have one on the ship, or was it at the Altar Mountain?
Who knows? Either way, there is some emergency surgery, and Aiden, put yourself right just one below your threshold.
Okay.
You probably got a nice, good soak in a back. In fact, you know what? Because he was out of the commission for so long, this is probably going to take half the day just to get you back up to snuff, since you were quite literally exploded.
I assume the crit is still there.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, since we've now got Aiden in the back to tank, during this time, Venus is going to see if she can find an intact data core.
Oh no, it's gone. They had to bomb the thing to get rid of it.
Bomb it to oblivion.
Yeah. I mean,
There's
spare
another
metal
crater
around here. Yeah, basically, there's one small crater where Aiden was, and there's one larger crater where the droid was.
If only Rock were here, he could have just tanked that.
Okay, she's going to take a piece of metal for it to be analysed by R2 and see what type of metal it is, because that would probably make pretty good armour.
Well, by yourself, go ahead and roll like a mechanics check.
For scavenging it.
Okay.
Well, no, just to identify it.
Oh.
Okay.
Scavenging is pretty easy. It's just pieces everywhere. Go over to this part of the crater, pick a few plates out, go over to this side of the crater.
Okay, I'm going to use a light side.
Yeah, it's Durasteel. I mean, the thing being that big, it has Durasteel plating, which gives it an armor rating, but I mean, that's about it. It's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing all that special. It's just, it looks like it's, for what probably amounts to a probe droid, it's relatively well armored. But in fact, since you succeeded, you figure that this thing has an armor rating of 2. It's just the problem is personal scale weaponry is going to have a hard time getting through that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my second blaster could maybe get through it occasionally, but not that often. It would need a ton of successes. Yeah, I would need to have 9 successes to match the armor.
Bloody hell. 9 successes, jeez. Okay, she's probably scavenged.
While Aiden drifts in and out of consciousness, you can feel your camera droid staring at you on the other side of the back to tank.
Did Aiden
probably guess that there's a
survive that?
Once it saw that you were fighting a giant droid, it probably kept some distance.
Fair enough.
Enough to watch the fight, but not enough to hover over your shoulder. Regardless, you can probably feel there's a shell hut laughing at you right now.
Yeah, well, we killed the thing, so that's enough.
Yeah. All right. I'll say while Aiden's
recovering,
unconscious.
can he also check himself for some kind of tracker? Or was it just kind of like a...
It was probably a die or something like that. Or it probably tracked you for your heat signature.
I'll add some setback for probably being dosed up on medication, but you can probably roll either an education or just a straight up vigilance check to kind of figure out what was going on.
Neither of them are great, but vigilance it is.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and roll.
No, you're too spaced out.
Just thinking about it sets your hair up on end like you did when you first went off against that hut. That's about it. Crosses your mind.
Mm.
All right. So as Aiden's recovering, you're able to slowly drift the sun flare down the lake, down the river. Unfortunately, since either Vanris or Zevo's flying, you probably end up parking it in the river, which luckily isn't too deep, but it's somewhat swamped now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Aiden, you wake up the next...
Well, do we even need to go there if we're sending Onyx there now? Like if he went there ahead of us?
Well, I'd actually say while you're unconscious, you wake up and are told we had to park next to the complex. You ask why,
Okay.
They said Onyx told us.
Fair enough.
You walk out to see Onyx and a small group from his ship, much larger ship, that they had to park it. It's not parked. You don't know how they got here, but you actually don't even see the ship right now. But you do see Onyx and a few of his crew standing around this.
Venris will definitely go over to Onyx and will thank him for the assistance.
Well, you were lucky we were on our way to your coordinates and just happened to fly over and saw the smoke and detected the heavy weapons fire.
Aiden will give a kind of a bit of a nod and say, thanks for the assist.
Onyx looks back at you and gives a very slow nod. You can kind of guess there's a bit of respect to it. Like how you just took almost a point-blank blaster cannon blast and are technically still standing.
I am standing. It's just a little hard right now. It's a little difficult right now, but I am standing.
All right. After that nod, Onyx points to the structure and says, I've had a couple of my people look it over, and it definitely appears to be a Huddy's older era before they started basing themselves in more rounder structures to magnify their corpulence. However, the biggest problem here is, well, here, I'll show you. And he gestures for you guys to follow.
Okay. Yep. Vanris will follow.
Aiden will limp slowly behind.
He takes you into the structure.
No
and you
walking
guys
stick?
can see it is clearly overgrown. And he takes you to what appears to be a large mural behind what appears to be 3 large stone daises. The plural
Dais?
of that.
Dais.
Yeah.
Platforms.
There we go.
3 platforms set in a sort of rough semicircle in front of a large mural.
What is the mural depicting?
Well, that's the problem. You see, it has some of the stuff that you saw. It's actually written in Huddy's, an older dialect, but Vanris definitely can identify it.
Aiden
and
would
it
know
says,
it's Huddy's. Yeah.
on top of these broken bones, we build our kingdom, long since removed from the treachery of our kin. Let this be our first step to a glorious destiny. And the mural itself depicts some of the imagery, what you roughly saw on that monument you first came across, but it has much more of a hut feel to it. The small worms are now suddenly giant huts with casting some lightning across what appear to be those same giant humanoids, and those humanoids seem to be building structures that look a lot like the structure you're in right now. And that goes on for a while. And then you see one much larger hut pointing out towards the edge of the mural. And it looks like he's pointing at something, but as your eyes drift across the mural, you notice that a large piece of it has been taken out. It looks like it's either collapsed or been physically ripped away from the mural.
Would Zevo have been with us? I assume he would, because this is kind of like an important thing for him, right? Or could be.
I figure yes, at this point he is.
Oh, good question. Would my strain have gone down?
Actually, given the time you had, you both probably nil your strain.
Okay.
Because you actually had half a day to rest.
So, Aiden will turn to Zevo and say, does any of this mean anything to you?
Zero looks it over and says, aside from the standard bravado, no. However, that hut over there looks like the standard pronouncement pose. He seems to be declaring something. If I had to guess, this mural is probably the piece we need. It might lay out the coordinates to where the huts went after this planet.
Can Venris look around? Is there any other murals at that height?
None with that sort of grandeur. There are others that seem to be depicting minor stories, but they don't have any words to associate them.
Is there any evidence around for where that missing piece may have gone?
You look around and Onyx nods and he says, yes, we actually found traces of what appear to be the stonework that lay out a path. And he points down into, down across, I guess you could call it a window, but there's no glass, an opening in the wall. And you actually see, it just looks like the jungle, but there appears to be segmented clearings, one, then another, kind of in a pattern, going
Like
further
footsteps?
and further up in the building. You probably figure, yeah. They're not recent, but they're definitely newer than a lot of the things around here.
I have a feeling that way might be where we find our missing piece. And Onyx, I don't know if you've seen the... I guess he would have, right? That statue that we passed, and Aiden will describe the writing that was on the side.
I did see it through the window. So you think that the natives and the hut seem to agree on some point of history?
I don't know if agreeing is the right term. It looked like the huts were binding this giant.
Yeah, but they both seem to agree that they were bound.
Oh, that, yes.
That's interesting. You would think, I mean, both depictions seem to show that these humanoids are quite large, but as far as I've heard from the chatter I've caught from the other racers, no one seemed to have come across such a species.
They may not be around anymore. It was made a long time ago. And knowing huts and the devastation, they can tend to leave.
Do you think that complicates things?
Possibly.
Since it was most likely moved by one of these sentients, if they're no longer around, then that piece may be lost.
Those clearings over there that you pointed out, they do look like what could be footsteps. It's possible they carried that piece in that direction. It's worth checking out at least.
Perhaps, but after a little bit, he moves you over, and you first come across the first clearing, and it looks a lot like that. The empty space that was around the monument, trampled ground, but the growth is still coming back. So this footstep is old.
Right.
Well,
what else do we have to go on?
Let's follow the footsteps and see where it leads.
Nothing. I just wanted you to know that following these footprints may not lead directly to our answer.
We could leave some here to inspect the surrounding area. Do you have men you can leave behind to do a sweep?
I have enough. And he points over, and you actually see the blue-haired woman that you raced against back on the Varl system. Mm-hmm. She seems to take the hint and takes a second in command position, rounds up some of the men that Onyx had, and moves them back into the temple. Onyx actually seems to be alone now, and he'll say, I'll follow you, or rather, we'll go together.
All right. Let's move on.
Vanus will turn
a reminder for the outdoorsman, though that's probably somewhat canceled out by my temporarily lame.
Venus
Yeah.
will actually say, you're going to need some support, like a stick or something.
Oh man.
Yeah,
thank
I mean, you still have your blasters.
Yeah. Oh, Aiden will kind of fashion something from the surroundings that he can use as a bit of a crutch, but he can still mostly hobble along fine. More of a cane, I suppose, than a crutch.
Well, unfortunately, Aiden does seem to be the one that weighs you guys down. But after probably about an hour or two following these clearings, you guys eventually find yourself upon a oddly, it's hard to describe. Let me go to the image first, and we can piece it together from there.
Yeah, I'll say Aiden can probably point out the right ways to go, but can't keep up the pace as well as he could have otherwise, so it ends up nulling out and being normal travel speed.
Yeah, so you guys happen upon... it's still under the canopy, but you notice that these trees that surround it incredibly old and giant. Like, the pit that the canopy seems to cover is massive to the degree that you don't think the canopy should be able to cover it entirely, but yet the growth has exploded around the area but have never filled the basin. And what you find there is a giant assortment of these huge bones.
Before we head into the pit or whatever you want to call it, can we check and see if it look like there's anything resembling one of these creatures still living, or if it's all just bones everywhere?
From your vantage point, you don't. It's like, in fact, as you got closer to this area, things grew incredibly more and more silent, to the point where when you finally got here, all you heard was the rustling of the many leaves above you. Probably just from the wind.
Fenris will unshoulder her rifle and cradle it in her arm.
Yeah, before we head in fully, Aiden will give his electrobinoculars to Vanners and say, "Can you just look inside and see if there's anything that stands out that we should be wary of?"
Yeah, okay.
All right. Go ahead and roll me a perception check then. The binoculars will give you a boost, and your difficulty is set.
And
Okay.
while she's doing that, Aiden will turn to Onyx and say, "What's your take on this?"
The way the bodies are arranged and the fact that there are so many in one place leads me to believe that these are sentients. Though I don't know if the huts put them here or...
I don't know how they would have.
The huts may not like having giant corpses next to their stuff.
Perhaps they came here themselves, like elephants, panthers.
A natural instinct to come to a place to die.
Yeah.
Oh, with her perception, what does she make out? Anything notable?
It is still as the dead down there. However, you do actually see that near the center of the basin, there appears to be there's a lot of dead foliage that seems to be centered around that spot, and no bones. Like, there are a couple of what you can manage are probably like femurs or arm bones and whatnot kind of stacked around it, but you don't see anything that's kind of planted deep into the ground at that spot.
Okay. She'll relay the information and she'll say, "I think we should advance to that area."
That sounds like a good idea. He'll take his electrobinoculars back, put them back in his pack.
Onyx and I will go ahead. You can come down at your own pace.
I'll be along behind.
You stay at your own pace. We'll move ahead.
Yep.
All right. As Onyx and Venris continue down, he feels intrigued enough to continue the conversation. So you believe that not even their own kin buried them here, but these sentients simply came here when they felt like it was time to die?
It's possible.
anything's possible at this point. I just find it incredibly morbid.
Well, for what I have seen in the universe, there has to be some sort of balance.
How does this play into that?
Well, I have seen some really, really weird shit.
I've pillaged convoys from Bonadan to the Bloody Edge. I've seen weird shit too.
Yeah. Have you fought an immortal emperor?
I've certainly dusted off a few of his inquisitors.
Well, let's just say that the one I've been has switched bodies so many times. I believe that he is now finally dead.
I once met a Claudite who thought he was a different person every time he changed forms.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of the same thing.
No, this was... let's just say that you actually mentioned the name Tenebrae, Vitiate, and Valkorian.
Never heard of them.
There was once a child named Tenebrae. He was a bastard child. He performed the ritual and lived for thousands of years. He then took the name Vitiate and became the Sith Emperor. When he died at the hand of the Jedi, he took another form, a spirit form, which was destroyed all life on Ziost, and then went into another body who called himself Valkorian.
A lovely story.
Actually,
I'm just wondering where you've heard then how come no one seems to have heard of that ever?
Because I'm old enough to know.
I've been a lot of places. I think I would have picked up this story beforehand.
This happened millions of years ago.
Thousands
of years ago.
Would have been like 5,000 at this point, I think, right?
Oddly, that none of that stuff seems to be held in any legends or folklore. Well, doesn't matter. We're here. And you have reached, after that conversation, the edge of that kind of overgrown area. And upon closer inspection, you can see that it is kind of a weird... there's a lot of fungus growth. Like, it looks like this is a mix of undergrowth and just a lot of decaying matter.
Okay, she'll sweep the area to see if she can find traps or anything like that.
All right. Check. It's pretty simple. What you do notice is that the entire area seems to be growing over a large... the ground seems to have been broken, like physically broken, and this stuff was piled on top of that and then just left for time to decompose and regrow over.
So I'd say Aiden probably would have caught up about now, and he'll see this thing in the center, I guess it was, right?
Yeah, dead center of the basin.
Does it look like it would have been about the same size as the missing piece of the mural?
Oh, the missing piece of the mural is probably about, I would say, the size of a speeder. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like just a large plaque. This thing is big. Like, you could fit several of those footprint clearings in it.
Oh, okay. By the ground being broken, do you mean like, is there like a cavern in there, or is it just like, like cracks in the earth that look like you could traverse them, or?
Roll me a perception.
Okay. Just me, or like for the group? Are we doing?
I guess Vaness can look 2 individually if she wants, or together with you.
Yeah, we'll do individually, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. It looks like this was either a pit or was originally just solid ground to begin with, and something physically broke it, like smashed it to bits, moved it aside, and then put it back in place roughly. So it was either there was already a pit here, and then something decided to pile a bunch of rocks on top of it, or it was solid ground, but just above a hollow space, and something broke through it, and then tried to piece back together the opening.
Poorly, apparently. Or
Yes.
just long enough ago that it didn't matter.
Long enough ago that whatever they put on top to kind of cover it, kind of like a loose pit trap, has regrown, roughly. In fact, for the advantage, Vanris finds a small, just a bit larger than the average person opening, a crack in the rocks that goes further down.
Oh, guys, I think I found something.
Aiden will kind of come over and see that, and I think he'll say, I'd probably just slow you guys down there, with how I am right now. I can maybe keep watch up here. You two can go down.
We could blast some of the rocks further open with some charges,
But
says
probably-
Onyx.
Or some precision shots with some blasters.
That could
These
disab-
rocks look a bit too big for that sort of stuff.
Fair enough.
blasting could probably destabilize the ground and
Well-
probably cause more trouble.
We could get clear, and if the pit gets bigger, the pit gets bigger. We might have to take the mural out.
Yeah. Do you have any recon remotes at all?
Onyx shakes his head.
That's worth a try.
Why leave to droids what you can do yourself?
Yeah.
And in fact, with that, Onyx jumps in.
Oh, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. She'll follow.
In for a credit, in for more credits. I don't know. Yeah.
Aiden just staying at the top then?
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna have to keep watch. 'Cause he's kind of not in the state to be climbing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Dr. Zivo says, don't forget your painkillers at every ick.
All right. So Onyx and Venris head into the tunnel, and you can see actually it was something like a pit. You climb in, you have to kind of bend your way past a few rocks, but again, the rocks are so big that openings are pretty easy to find. And then you finally come out on a large cave adjacent to the pit, where a bunch of loose rocks
what
just
is
seem to
the-
fall in the way.
Smell like in the pit? Is it like decomposing, or is it fine?
It smells heavily of sulfur. In fact, to the
Okay.
point where Onyx looks at you and says, do you have a mask?
Yep, she pulls off the mask and puts it on.
Ah, good to see you're prepared.
Yeah,
There's a large thermal scan up ahead. It's a hot pocket.
yep. She'll shoulder her rifle now so she can have both hands free.
All right. You continue down, following. It goes down for a while, like to the point you check your chrono, and it seems like you've been going down for at least 45 to an hour. Aiden certainly above is getting bored, or maybe a bit creeped out by just this eerie stillness in the air. Regardless, you come to a giant cavern. Like the one you were in was big before. This one, it almost makes you think a lot of the crust is hollow here. And further away, you see a small collection of buildings on top of a pillar standing above a what looks to be a rough ocean of lava.
Wow. Okay, she'll
Magma, I guess.
yeah, she'll unshoulder her rifle and look through the scope.
Go ahead and roll me another perception.
It occurs to me that Aiden has an R2 unit, or an R7 unit rather, and a maintenance droid that he could have been assisting with some checks while in the Sunflare, but oops.
Lesson learned.
Yep.
Anyway, so you look through your scope at the, I assume, the
Other one should not be, the green should not be there. I forgot to remove the upgrade. I do apologize.
Okay, so that's just 2 successes then, 2 advantages.
Yeah.
So you look through your scope at, I assume, the town that you saw on top of the pillar.
Yes.
Now that you have a better chance of scale, the buildings in that town are massive. Like, probably housing these large sentients you keep seeing the bones of, massive. But you do not see any people, any sentients.
I have a feeling that the local inhabitants may have died off
Let's hope.
millennia ago, but who knows?
Well, let's hope, because I do not want to square off against one of these things. If it happens to still be guarding the mural.
Yes.
All right. So, again, it takes like 30 minutes just to get to the base of this pillar, and another 30 just to get into the town. And now that you're in it, you see that.
Sorry, carry on.
You now see that these indeed are just giant buildings. It looks like it reminds Vanris probably of some bunkers she's seen. Like, this is probably meant to be a refuge for these sentients.
Yeah.
And as you follow the single path that got you into the town, village, I guess would be a better term, it leads you into the heart. And as you step forward, you see that in reality, the center building for the refuge is something akin to a temple. And standing before you in some resting pose on a throne is a massive sentient. Probably the last one of its kind.
Or we could be wrong, but it could be one still alive.
I think it's 1 wound a day for
I thought it was
resting
per hour.
heal.
Oh, you know what?
It
is per day. You're right. Never mind. I'm thinking back to
So as you guys have stumbled, as Onyx and Vanessa stumbled upon this discovery, Aiden, up top, the rustling of the leaves gives way to the slight hum of repulsor lifts. And you see through the canopy several dark shadows suddenly flash overhead before the normal light returns. Your comm link beeps.
like Aiden will answer his comm. Who's there?
You hear a female voice, the woman you raced against. Somewhat familiar now that you're hearing it aloud. Hey, we just detected a couple of ships from the Outer Rim Survey Corps. They just buzzed by your position. Did you see them?
I saw some shapes. They seem to buzz by pretty quickly, though.
Yeah, but they have quick scanners. They're mapping the terrain under the canopy. I think they just found whatever you did.
Good to know. I'll relay that message on down to below. You guys may want to head over here as well. We found something. We don't know what.
Vanris hears nothing. Aiden, though, you hear that have you heard anything from your friends, from Onyx? We haven't gotten buzz from the captain.
They went down there, and we haven't heard back. I haven't heard back since.
You hear a muffled curse.
There might be
Survey
too
Corps
much interference underneath. Well, that's
maybe, but the Corps is going to bring whatever they can on whatever curious spot they found, and I have a feeling we don't have much time. I'm getting the pitchfork ready to cover you, but I don't think that's enough if they decide to bring one of their cruisers down.
All right, you do what you can. I'll relay that message to our ship. And see.
I've already told the hut you have back here.
Okay. I'll see if I can get a hold of them below.
All right. Meanwhile, back below, the second you and Onyx, Vanris and Onyx, step into this chamber, you see that the giant sentient suddenly shifts in his chair. And as the reflected light from the lava hits him, you can see that his body is covered in what appear to be soft tumors under the skin and scars around his the top of his skull. And his eyes look at you with that yellowish twinge that you feel like you've seen so many times when you looked into the eyes of the Sith you've been hired to kill. Who are you? The booming voice echoes about the chamber in that same older dialect of Huttese you read in the mural.
Venris will say her name.
Onyx gives his name as well, trying to reflect the dialect, but you can tell he's probably sticking to more modern Huttese. Why are you here?
Venris will tell her everything that the Hutts had told them.
You slaves! And his voice shudders the chamber to the point where dust starts to fall from the creases, and you feel your very bones shake.
She will hold out her hand and she will say, to be honest, we didn't know if there was any other sentience on this planet.
I am the last, sustained by the efforts of your hideous masters. I am trapped here on this mortal coil and underneath the ruins of my people.
I take it they enslaved your people.
Yes. When the stars flamed, the huts that remained turned on us, bound us, forced us to commit their hideous labors and submit to their works. I cannot even find myself with the will to destroy what they built, even though they have long gone. And he reaches up his hand. You can see he's holding the mural, the piece that he took, and his fingers look like they're tightening around it, but nothing seems that it looks like he's trying to crush it, but he can't.
Venris will look to see what Onyx will do.
Onyx looks at Venris and looks up at the giant sentient and kind of points to the base of his helmet, seeming to indicate to talk to it.
Okay.
This whole time, Aiden's been. I don't know if you saw the.
Yeah, I saw.
Okay.
It's going to take a bit of time, though.
Gotcha.
I'll move your token to represent how far you've gotten.
Okay. Hooray!
And I'll tell you when you start. Your Manra starts hearing messages.
Okay. Yes. To let you know that the nebula that had been surrounding this area of space has subsided, vanished, and the Hutts now wish to reclaim everything in this area.
They must kill me if they wish to claim this as their own once more. And he stands up from his throne. Push, push. Again, the very bones in your body shaking with the vibrations of his massive weight. I am a slave in will and body, but my mind remains my own.
Then
I
how-
will tear down what they have built before I let a single one of their slimy race back here.
Okay, she won't say anything about the Zevo. She will say, and how do you propose to be free?
Silence. He stares at you with that same ferocity you've seen in the Sith, but he speaks more softly now. I can only resist in death, but I shall make sure my grave is on the ruins of what they built.
And what did
And you
they-
see his free arm reach for a side of the room, and he grips it so tightly his fingers plunge into the rock, and then his arm starts vibrating. And then you start to feel as the room around you softly shakes. Aiden, as you now come upon the same sight they saw earlier, the pillar and the small village on top of it, you feel soft vibrations in the ground as well.
That can't be good.
Vanris, right before you speak in response, you hear a message from Aiden.
Okay.
Again, not a message. I'm just tapping it to see if I'm getting a signal.
You hear a ping from Aiden.
Yeah. It's like, brief, static burst, just to see if you're getting anything.
Yeah, like tapping on a mic.
Yeah.
All right, then you're both able to cross ping, so you now know you're back in contact.
Okay. So, would Venris's her comm, is it like in a helmet, or is it
She hasn't
handheld
got.
thing?
She hasn't got a helmet. She's got a handheld holocom.
Okay, so it's not something that's that would be covertly used. in
No,
that sense.
the only one that probably would be better would be contacting Onyx.
I guess Onyx has a. Do we have contact with Onyx? We have his frequency.
I guess the blue-haired woman would have given it to you in case, since they wouldn't be able to contact him. So yeah.
So Aiden will come over the comm with Onyx then, knowing that he is in a more. He's more able to disguise the fact that he is on a comm with someone.
Right. Vanris, you hear a very soft, almost so soft you can't hear it over the vibrations, but a click come from Onyx.
Okay.
So and Aiden will say to him, there's a situation up above.
There's a situation down below.
Well, whatever you're doing down there, hurry it up. We gotta get out of here.
Well, we found a living sentient, a native. He has.
That would explain those quakes.
Yes, he apparently wants to take down this and whatever his masters have built, but he seems to be prevented from actively just directly destroying it. So I think he's trying to bring the entire pillar down and cause perhaps a sudden change to the crust.
Well, this is not Aiden hesitating. This is me checking the name of the group that was looking for us. Was it the Survey Corps? Yeah. I said, well, the Survey Corps had just scanned overhead, so it won't be long before they come full bore on this area.
Yes, they'll most likely directly bomb that pit if they did a deep enough scan.
And that can be just as bad, if not worse, than him bringing down that cave on you.
I agree, but we need to get a good glimpse of the mural before we leave.
Try to do what you can. I'm working my way towards you, but I can't. I don't know how much I can accomplish from over here.
All right. So Onyx looks at Venris and says in basic,
Are you better at talking or shooting?
I'm pretty good at shooting, but that's about it.
He points to a small, the rocky crag that's behind the throne,
Yeah.
and he says, "That skull of his looks damaged. If one of us could get in the proper position, we could deal what could be a paralyzing or even fatal blow.
Yeah.
But one of us must keep him distracted."
Okay. You better keep him distracted. But...
Very well. Onyx steps forth and starts talking to the creature about the failure of the huts, their folly, and how he might be able to get his revenge if he chooses to live long enough to see it, especially if the huts come here, and how it will be a trap. However, you notice he's saying this in not so many words. He seems to be glazing it over with, "Oh,
hand
yes."
movements.
Well,
More
you're
yeah.
moving. He's just standing.
Yeah.
He seems to be glossing over his words with a lot of flowery text, so his watchers don't get immediately offended. I'm actually going to have to roll a charm check for him, aren't I?
Yeah!
You probably never thought that would happen.
Geez, I guess this would just be up and up formidable since he's pissed. Upgraded by his willpower, which... Oh,
Well,
okay.
It'd be whatever his... It wouldn't necessarily be formidable, but whatever his stat is, right? It's opposed.
Yeah, but he's pissed.
As in
Very
off.
pissed. And
That would be
he's-
more upgrades and setbacks more than anything else, I would think.
Well, upgrades would add purples anyway.
Fair
Do
enough.
I...
Do what you gotta do.
All right,
Oh,
he's able to actually
wow.
keep his attention. You actually, for the advantage, you notice his arm remains planted in the rock, but it stops vibrating.
Aiden will notice this, and
Is Aiden still approaching, or did he stop? Once he
I would say he would just say briefly to Onyx, signal me 2 clicks if I should keep approaching, 1 if I should go back.
1 click.
Okay. Aiden will head back towards the surface. Try to
All right.
make sure the way is as clear as can be, especially after those quakes. And
All right, Vanris, I'm going to need a stealth check. You will get... actually, I think I'll give you 4 boosts because of the distraction. And it's going to be... Why can't I click this arrow? And the difficulty is going to be his vigilance, which is... Okay, go ahead and roll.
Da, da, da. Okay, here we go.
ah, wait,
Oh, ugh, I had the freaking thing highlighted. Hold on, I'll just go ahead and roll the red die and we'll see what happens. Okay, so you still succeed.
with no advantage or threat, but a despair.
Yes. So Vanris gets in position, but once you start lining up your sights to what you now see actually is a very large, massive scar tissue right on the back of his skull,
Yeah.
the entire place shakes. Aiden, you notice this too as you near the entrance. And actually, from where you are at that point, you start getting back in contact with Zevo and the other members of the Hiding's Dread. The Survey Corps has shown up. They're bombing the basin. And you notice that the rocks in front of you that were lining the way are starting to shift and collapse and shatter.
Aiden will come back. It's like, we're all below. Do whatever you can to stop them.
All right. That sounds like a mass combat check. All right. So as I'm getting that dice pool ready physically, Venris, you need to take the shot.
Yep.
Because it's so big, it's technically a called shot, but it's not a called shot because
Yeah.
this thing is like at least silhouette 4.
just him.
So you're shooting at something that is basically silhouette 1.
Okay, cool. She'll aim.
So, Okay, your difficulty is actually just going to be his.
If it's still 4, would that make it 3 easier?
Well, no, because you're shooting at something that's silhouette 1. It's just his entire body is silhouette 4. Like I said, it's technically a called shot, but it doesn't have that penalty because it's not that small.
It's big enough that you may as well be just generally shooting at it.
Yeah, for this instance, even though you're shooting at a silhouette 4 thing, what you're specifically shooting at is basically the size of an average person, so no change. It's only going to be upgraded by his natural defenses. Okay, go ahead and roll.
Okay.
I would give flip dark side to give you guys some light to use, but I don't want to make this any harder than it is.
Okay, here we go. Cross your fingers.
Well, that's interesting.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. Oh, I know what I've done. I've rolled heavy instead of the combat one. So here we go. Right, it is damage 8, pierce 1, 8,
Okay.
9, 10.
I think this is
So-
more about if you hit it or not than damage.
Yeah.
You hit him square in the back of the head, and as he seems to be growling a response to Onyx, he suddenly just stops midair, and you see his body kind of swings out because his arm, still locked in the rock, acts as a pivot point, but the rest of his body goes limp and falls forward, and his arm collapses in such a way that it breaks the mural.
Like pulverizes it or just splits it?
It probably just breaks it into
It's
pieces.
not dust, but there's going to be some effort to try and glean
But-
what it says now.
Gotcha.
At
Speaking
least,
of-
I was going to say, because at least now it will be at least manageable to carry.
I mean, it was still pretty massive, right? Like,
So the mural itself, like I said, was about a silhouette 2 table. It's probably been broken in a few pieces.
it's also solid stonework too, probably. So,
Yeah.
that would have not been carryable,
Yeah.
I think.
Like if you had a full excavation crew, probably, but
Not by two
Okay.
underground.
luckily, Aiden, as you probably stayed your distance when you noticed that the pit was being bombed. But after a moment, you hear several more loud explosions, but the rocks, once they settle, remain stable.
Does it look like
It's
there's still a path out, or
I'd say for the threat, it now requires a check. You can't just automatically slip through the rocks.
okay? So kind of like coordination squeeze through.
Yes, but it will have setback. No, both because of your lame injury and the relative tight space.
It is kind of a lame injury, isn't it?
Okay. Now I'll use dark side because I feel relatively safe using it here.
Okay. All right. So you have your modifiers on it, I assume.
Yes, you're clear to roll.
Okay. Let me just check something. Would outdoorsman apply here? I don't remember if it's just survival checks or not.
If it is on movement through rough terrain, I'd say it applies, but if it is just to survival checks, no. I forget the.
Checks to move through terrain or manage terrain. So yes.
Oh, get them. This works. This applies.
All right. So I'll do a subtract a thingy there, and let me click on the right thing to roll. Go. Got it.
You made it! Jeez, those setback were useless.
It-
All right, you climb after a bit of an arduous climb, much harder than it was climbing down. You emerge to see that the canopy above you has been blown wide open. There is collapsed foliage all around you, obscuring the bones that were once here. In fact, you kind of have to cross through some bush just to get to the surface. And above you is chaos. It looks like the Pitchfork and the Sunflare are currently engaged in aerial combat between several light frigates, and you see in the distance on one end of the basin a much larger silhouette seems to be descending from the clouds. And you get through your comms, Evo, saying, okay, so we're leaving.
And it'll be like, Vanders is still down there.
We don't have, it took you almost half an hour to get back up here.
What do you expect?
Maybe
He's
I'll get on
lame.
board. At the very least, I can help fend them off.
Okay, so the Sunflare is lowering down to try and pick you up, and over the comms, Evo's asking, how close are they to the exit? How far behind you?
They're deep in. as far last time when I left them, they were still all the way down in there.
Crap. Do you remember what direction you were heading when you were underground?
Would I remember what direction I was? I assume so.
Rough. Given your pilot's nature, you probably have a good internal compass. So yeah.
Yeah. It's north. You know. Sure.
Okay. So Zivo, as he surrenders the cockpit to you, says, "If you can fly over there, we'll blast the roof."
All right.
There's not enough time for them to come all the way back here.
Yeah, and I can't message them either. Comms won't get through. So.
Well, hopefully they have good intuition.
All right. Let's do this. And Aiden has less ride, so he doesn't need to maneuver to get in. Not that it matters.
All right. So you're going to have to once again extricate yourself from a relatively large battle as the Pitchfork tries to, and because it's a Solid 5 Corvette, its maneuverability is much more limited than the freighters that seem to be darting around it. However, as you can see, whenever its cannons align to something, one blast, ship goes down. So it's kind of impressive if it didn't constantly miss. Actually, when you were also climbing up, you saw probably the wreckage of a couple of freighters that had been shot down. Well, luckily, the crews were so confused and trapped in foliage they couldn't find you.
Good to know.
All right, so piloting to escape this mess.
All right. Let me know when you're set up for that.
Would you pretty much be hitting the throttle right away, or would you try and go with a slower speed?
I would say probably one, Aiden likes to fly things fast, and two, just it's time's of the essence here. So
Right.
he'd be going. He wouldn't be using full throttle, but he would be going the max speed of the ship, I think.
Okay, so that would change that to this. All right, go ahead and roll. Actually, hold on. I'll flip another dark side, so you actually have an opportunity to flip.
Flipping would be good, I think. Yeah. Right. So I got that, and piloting go.
Ooh.
I like that. Yeah, I'd like that. I'm okay with that.
To advantage, I'll say actually.
Two
so
trumps.
You clear the fight. Minor strain damage to the ship as you have to cut through what remains of the canopy at the edge of the basin a bit to
I'll take it
get
as
out of
personal
the
strain
way.
because why not? That
Okay,
shot.
yeah. You actually, as you come back over to the area where you were previously, the Sunflare's stronger transmission beam allows it to cut through the rock. You can actually get back in contact with Honest and Vanris.
Okay, so I'll be like, Onyx, Vanris, I'm blasting through the roof. Look out above. Watch for
Okay.
falling rocks, guys.
So, from Vanris' perspective, what happens a little bit before that is the sentient, now dead, holds. Onyx moves over, and you can actually see he brings out a large thin blade that shoots out of his hand, and he kind of cuts through a few of the fingers around the mural, and he gestures for you to come down.
Okay, yep, she comes back and gives him a hand with the jigsaw.
All right. This is actually going to be a lore check, but you'll have the assistance of Onyx's skill.
Cool.
So upgrade your lore check 4 times.
Right.
And go ahead and roll. Upgrade if you just want, also with the Destiny pool.
I've already upgraded 4 times.
Well, I meant. Never mind. Sorry.
Because then two of my green become yellow, and then the other 2 become green.
Well, the other 2 actually become a green and then another yellow. So you have 3 yellow now.
Right. Okay. Right, so I'm just going to roll.
Luckily, with the help of Onyx's both experience and scanner, you're able to digitally piece the pieces back together to form a coherent map. And right about as you finish, and Onyx saves the imprint to both your data pads, you hear Aiden come in over the line and tell you that he's blasting the roof down.
Okay, we're nearly done here.
All right. How do you want to get to cover?
Run.
Where?
Either that. Where would cover be? Like the doorway?
So what you're in right now is kind of this own building, and then above it is open air, and then finally the ground. That makes it a lot more confusing. The ceiling of the cave. So there's a bit of an open space here and there. So you're kind of in a secure place right now, but
you're kind of here.
Yeah.
Right, okay, I'm on a different part. Sorry, so ping again?
You're in the little city-looking thing.
Yeah.
Probably in the tallest building.
Yeah, we probably would be. So where do you think we should... Venice will turn to Onyx. Okay, where do you think we should go?
Onyx crouches down, and you see a small barrier form around him.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay, she gets into the door and she basically hugs the floor.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there's nothing here that's your size, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. Okay, just be careful. We are still in...
The door frame is still probably the strongest part of the building, right?
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, but the door frame is like an entire building to her.
But it's also least likely to collapse in on her, I think is what...
That's been somewhat debunked, but yeah, sure.
I mean, yeah.
If you
okay, so this is how this is gonna go. Aiden's gonna be rolling a gunnery check, but he'll also have 2 upgrades. Depending on the positive, all you need to do is succeed to blow the hole. But the positive after effects of the dice will determine how well Vanrix and Onyx survive the endure the result.
That was an intentional slip up, and you know it.
Maybe.
All right. So I think step 1 is flipping for this thing.
Yeah.
And what is the gunnery check? Just gunnery, right? Nothing special about it. I guess you would do difficulty anyway. So
Yeah. You add the 2 upgrades from the double tron. Actually, 2 upgrades wouldn't. Would those upgrades turn greens to yellows, or would they add greens?
they would turn greens to yellows for gunnery.
Okay, then yeah, 2 upgrades. Didn't want to force you to take worse dice for pretty awesome roll.
Well, adding greens isn't necessarily worse dice.
Yeah, but less chances of more triumphs.
All right, and I think I'm good now. So go. Oh, those threats. I have second chances.
All the negative dice roll threats. No failures.
I mean, that's great that I succeeded in all. And there's a lot of successes there. But for lack of a better reason to use this, I'm going to use the second chances on that one, at least to try to minimize the effect.
You're going to reroll that 1 yellow dice that rolled blank?
I might also reroll one of the successes. The green success there, probably.
Okay, so for the moment, 4 successes.
Yeah, the green success.
Okay.
So green and yellow. Let's go. Clear out any negative dice.
Yep, you're good. Okay, you certainly got the successes back and then some, and then 1 advantage to turn that into 4 threat.
So that's better than it was.
Yeah. So, Vanris, you look up to see just a barrage of blaster fire and ion fire, I guess, come from the sun flare as the rock in front of you just begins to fall away and crumble. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check or coordination, your choice, and I'll actually just have the difficulty be the threat that occurred.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm glad I reduced that.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, no, that's being mean because you can't use that light side point anyway. Never mind. Still too dark.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
I can flip that back if you want, by the way.
Don't, because I already messed with the dice pool manually.
Okay.
All right. So you are actually able to find cover under the corpse of the last sentient.
Oh, that's dark.
In fact, yeah, the 3 threat is you do not feel good about it at all.
It's like,
Yeah, go ahead. I know it's gonna go away by next session because you're gonna have time to rest. So go ahead and take 3 threat just as mental trauma for
Take some strain for that, yeah.
surviving on the backs of the last sentient on this planet.
what was that, 3 or 4?
3.
3
So-
threat.
Okay.
As you
Strain.
see, Onyx, however, the barrier he put up actually completely shatters a boulder that was going to land on him.
That is some
And
impressive
once
tech.
once things settle down, the barrier fades and the sunflare is able to come in right above the giant corpse.
Yeah, she actually.
Having seen
there's-
this thing the first time, we'll be like, holy Sith spit. What?
And crawling out with slobber on the back, going down her back is Fenris. And she goes, "Yeah, I know. Don't even."
All right, get
about
on board. Hurry up. We got to get out of here now.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Onyx boards with you and Venrus, and he says, "We'll meet up with the pitchfork in orbit before we make a jump to hyperspace." And he starts tapping on his computer on his wrist.
Oh,
like a
before
plan. Let's go.
before we go, can we destroy the coordinates?
We're not allowed to
Or
destroy.
no, we're not allowed to. No, okay.
Yeah.
We'll
That's
just
technically our property.
rearrange them.
We didn't do it. It did. So, anyway, shall we be off then? All right.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the refresher.
So it takes off then, I guess, into orbit.
All right. You pick up on long-range scanners that the pitchfork is trying to follow tow, but beyond it is also a good portion of the Survey Corps' fleet trying to chase it down. So, hold on. Let me move the frickin' banner. If I can get this thing to move. There we go.
So now Onyx got credit for this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Onyx was the one who pieced it together and saved it to his hard drive. Actually, completely forgot to mention this. Once he did that, your cameras actually blared a short chime, and it says in Huttese that Basadi has claimed Nar Tukado. Little
Okay.
fanfare from the camera droids.
So-
Probably
While
this.
Aiden's in the pilot seat, can he kind of covertly send a message to Zevo?
Zevo's in the same place.
Right, but Zevo has a datapad, I assume. And Zevo also has weaponry and things like that of that nature. So I think Aiden's going to try to send a covert message to Zevo to restrain Onyx.
Okay, so you don't know how that's going to turn out because you're in the pilot seat and flying away, but the message has been sent.
Yeah, because Onyx isn't necessarily in the cockpit, so I suppose that we'll find that out later. But Aiden's just abandoning the pitchfork. He's just going.
All right. Actually, as you start to gain on the pitchfork, the ship locks in place as your speed suddenly reduces.
Oh dear. That sounds like a tractor beam.
Okay, Venris heads up to the bridge.
Can I
before
full
she goes.
throttle the ship and try to break it?
Yes, but if you fail, that is going to cause incredible strain on the Sunflare.
I can take at least 3 of it. I don't know what it actually takes to break a tractor beam, now that I'm thinking about it.
I'll remind you that the Pitchfork is a professional pirate vessel. That it's pillaged convoys from.
Are they tractoring us?
You can assume as much.
Okay. I was thinking it was the other fleet for some reason. Oh, Aiden will look to Vanris.
Vanris is in the refresher.
That's true. All right then. Are we currently facing the pitchfork? Or the guns are all turreted, right?
No. Well, the guns are turreted, but you're front facing currently. The Pitchfork is behind you.
And is the pitchfork like Aiden knows starships? What is this, a much larger vessel, I assume?
It's silhouette 5, so just one silhouette bigger than you.
Okay.
It's basically it's comparable to a Corellian corvette.
Can Aiden? Okay. Here's what I want to do.
Okay.
It's a really tough call.
I will also remind you that you saw the Pitchfork, what the Pitchfork was able to do when it lined up a shot on these smaller frigates it was fighting against. It was almost one shot, one kill.
Okay. All right, and I guess we just have to go with it. Screw it, I'm trying to break the tractor. This might be a terrible idea, but...
Oh dear. All right. Well, I'm certainly flipping for this.
Yeah. Asking the other player here, it probably isn't going to be allowed in this case because it's basically just Aiden's decision. So
It is.
yeah, all right, yeah, he's going to try to break the tractor. So so we do full throttle, which is. So I assume they were already going full speed, so it would be a 2-speed increase. So it would only be like a 2 strain to do it, I think.
All right.
Yeah. And that would be an average check.
All right, hold on. Okay, I am upgrading the difficulty of this check by the quality of the Pitchfork's tractor beam for the sake of the record.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. Oh, and plus the dark side flip, so go ahead and roll.
So it's got 2 upgrades on it. Okay.
Well, it's got the tractor upgrade and then the dark side flip upgrade.
Right, so I'm saying there's 2 upgrades on it.
Okay.
Yeah. I will also I'll use the light side, I think. Yeah.
Well, you can't because that only became available because of the dark side.
Oh,
flip.
that's true. Okay. Put that back then, I guess. All right, so let's just see where this lands, I guess. This would be a new encounter, would it not?
Phew.
It. Actually, no, because you're still escaping. That's the problem. Yeah, unfortunately, no. Sorry.
In the refresher, Venris feels a sudden jolt and is like, what the fuck?
Actually, it's like a tug. All of a sudden, she goes one way and then is pulled back the other.
Okay, she gets out and
As you get out of the refresher, you see Onyx currently fighting off Zevo with his tonfas. Both 2 blades have come out of his arm, and he is parrying away both, and looks like he's actually getting an edge on Zevo.
Zevo, what the hell is going on here?
just following orders.
Following
God.
orders. I thought you were senior in this.
He is too busy to talk right now. He's in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, it's not exactly a conversational moment.
Okay, following orders, and orders are what?
I'm doing them.
Why are you? You're fighting. Just stop. Stand down.
Zivo is talk to Aiden. He's just
Right.
fighting for his life.
Okay. She goes up to the bridge.
No.
What the hell are you doing? He's our ally.
Well, we were gonna make a break for it and leave them, but this isn't working out.
Suddenly you hear a and Zivo suddenly hear a loud Huddy's cry as suddenly you get a call from Zivo. He's getting away! Suddenly you get a decompression alert from the starboard airlock, and you turn on the comm to see that Onyx is actively trying to escape by busting open the outer hull. You are in the upper atmosphere right now, so you're not
Taken
completely-
down.
You cut to Zivo in the camera, and he, oh my god, he's trying to slither forward, but the problem is he's trying to keep himself from also being sucked out. So
So I kind of meant
unfortunately,
like to Vanris, but because Vanris isn't really assisting with either side of things at the moment. So
She's like, he's an ally. Well, supposed to be an ally, and you go and
and he wasn't really. That's why I was doing what I was doing. But okay.
you and your laser brain
as
ideas.
this discussion continues, you see out the comm as Onyx suddenly flies out the airlock, and you can see him suddenly guiding himself towards the pitchfork. And actually, the tractor beam releases.
All right, just gun it. I'm gunning it. I'm
All right.
gone. Jumping.
This is going to be one more piloting check to see if you can escape from the pitchfork's firing arc before it can shoot you.
All right.
Because you're actually at top speed, this isn't going to be that hard of a check.
Okay.
But I will flip to give you another chance at light.
Since this is likely the end of the game anyway, I'm going to flip now. So.
Okay. All right, you can roll at your leisure.
That got real interesting real fast.
All right. Yeah, there's a couple of large, well, you can guess are probably turbo laser blasts on your flank, but you're able to reach the edge of the planet's gravity well, and with the information you have, key into the nav. I assume you're not going to try and do an astrogation.
Not at the moment, no.
All right. Then the Sunflare enters hyperspace. God, that synced up really well.
It did. That was perfect. Oh my god. It's gonna loop now. Stop it before it does.
Oh, I just did. Yeah, I hit stop like the second I heard it soften. And congrats. While you technically kept up the false front, had Vasadi claim the first world, the Sunflare was able to get away first, which gives it a pretty good lead given its hyperdrive.
Yeah, it's got the max, the best hyperdrive you can get, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. And with that quick escape, though, unfortunately, Zivo didn't appear not to be a match for Onyx. He actually slows back in and says, that guy had a flame projector in his arm.
A flame projector? Are you serious?
Yeah, he had freaking swords and a flame projector, and then he pulled like an explosive from his belt. That guy's armed. What the hell are you making me do? Sorry, I'm putting way too much emphasis on his flawless attitude. Zivo is mad. He's like, this guy was really well armed, and you did not give me enough intel.
I hadn't seen what he had done. Neither had Vanris, really. He just talked, right? And he put the shield on, but that's all he had really done, right?
Well, this guy has definitely some bounty hunter training on them. And see why he's captain of frickin' Hiding's Dread.
Yeah, and guess what? He's going to be gunning for us now.
I mean, they were going to be doing that very soon anyway, I'm pretty sure. So
No, I
it
don't
might have
think
taken
he
until
would
the end of
have.
the next world, but because he was working
All
for
right.
Masadi, and we were.
And with this revelation, I call to an end of the second session of Race Down the Dead Road, Graveyard of Giants, with one more giant added to the graveyard, thanks to the efforts of the hut servants, loyal servants. All right. For XP, since I took up another 3 hours of your time, it's going to be another base 15. I'll give a +1 to your attempt to undermine Basadi's efforts after you gave him the first win, trying to keep your allegiance with the rebels. And I'll give you one more for successfully gleaning the map, because that encounter was going to be pretty hard if you pissed that guy off anymore. So 17, again, since the group is so small, I'm going to keep it to just a single MVP vote
It's fine.
for that last bit.
I'm not sure if a vote
between the
makes a
two
lot
of
sense.
you,
I'm not sure if a vote makes a lot of sense between two players.
No.
I guess that's right. You know what?
Yeah.
Because Aiden had to suffer the penalty of pissing off that shell hut, I'll give one more consolidatory XP to the group and actually no MVP vote, since it's very hard to clear that out logistically. So 18 experience. If I did my math right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You only added 3 points, so yeah, 18.
Well, it's been a late night and a busy day.
Yeah.
And since we're in the midst of a race, there's no payout, there's no change in obligation of duty. I'm forgetting anything?
Not specifically, no.
All right, perfect. Then I will call this session to the end. Thank you, Dan and Dara, for playing, and thank you all for watching.
We'll see you next time.